Welcome again, Ms. Taylor.
Hello. I just wanted to thank you for this opportunity to speak again. This is actually a press release. I've been awfully busy since our last opportunity to speak. We have some people here that are also affiliated with our coalition. We had a meeting on May 1st, and due to an overwhelming concern voiced about the recent donation of the mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle that was donated to the Michigan City Police Department, local Northwest Indiana residents have decided that they would form a coalition. You do realize that there is a petition, I know you've been made aware of it, everybody on this council, that has at this moment about 860 people that have signed it. Over 500 of those are from Michigan City, Indiana, that oppose this MRAP being here. You kind of voice your stance. Now there is an ordinance that is going to be introduced by the Libertarian Party. This itself is not an end to that means, because if that doesn't follow through, us as a coalition are planning on introducing another ordinance or maybe getting some support for an ordinance. But at this point, I believe that if this is truly your constituents that you're listening to, then you're going to listen to that 500 that are telling you that they don't want it. Because it's not just the 500. That's just the 500 that signed it. There are many, many more that feel just as strongly that are unable to sign it. I have people that have come to me and contacted me and said, we would love to help you. We'll donate to you. We'll support your organization, but we don't want to be the front people out there. Why is that? Why aren't there more people involved? Why not? Because they don't feel you listen anyway. They don't feel that they can make a difference because they're not being heard. Instead of going to Florida or wherever it is you guys are taking vacations, try walking the streets of Michigan City and hearing what they have to say about this MRAP before you just decide that it's okay for us. Because I don't think it's okay for them. So if you could please read this press release. I do hope, I don't see Michigan City News Dispatch here tonight, but is the Herald Argus here tonight? No, okay. I do hope that you realize that there are a lot of residents that truly feel that there's a need for some type of more of an open debate about this. It wasn't fully vetted. There aren't really any studies. You know, is it really a necessity? What are the true benefits? Because there's a lot of statistics out there, and I've been talking to people. I have two nieces that are Marines. One that just got back from Japan and one that just got back from Camp Leatherneck. And she works on MRAPs. And she's going to come home here to Michigan City, and this is her home, Michigan City, Indiana. All right. Her name is Sarah Quint. And she says that they're trying to get rid of these, the Marines. Okay, there's been 273 rollovers in just the past 2 years, and the list goes on. I am putting together a lot of paperwork for this council so that you don't have to do the research. There are a lot of studies out there, and there are a lot of other towns that are now questioning this. So I hope that you'll read this, take it into consideration, read the ordinance that's going to be brought forth, and just take that into account, and maybe work with the coalition, the People's Voice of Northwest Indiana. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Matthew Schroeder. I'm 29 years old and I've lived in Michigan City most of my life. The only time I have spent abroad is when I was enlisted in the Marine Corps. I have not personally been in any combat situation, being that my MOS was a helicopter mechanic. I was stationed throughout the U.S. in different schools for combat and mechanics training. Due to the success of my GPA in the 90th percentile, I was granted the choice of where I would be permanently stationed. I requested and was granted to be stationed in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, in Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. But enough about me. I have not personally driven or rode passenger in a mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle, also referred to as an MRAP vehicle. I do, however, know what the purpose of a military-grade vehicle is designed for. First, to protect the passengers en route from one destination to the next, but also to be a show of force to intimidate spectators, be a bigger muscle than the opposition, and create fear to gain ground. This has been a practice in the military since the beginning of time. When the subject of the federal government designing a program to issue MRAPs nationwide to local police departments, it raises some questions. And when my hometown decides in participating in receiving one, I have no choice but to ask even more questions and do my research myself to find intelligence and facts. My first question, does the program fall within the boundaries of the U.S. Constitution? No. The PublicComments Act of 1887, which was later rewritten in 1981, states, whoever, except in cases under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a PublicComments or otherwise to execute the law shall be fined no more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. Congress passed the PublicComments Act in 1878 to end military occupation of the defeated southern states during the Reconstruction period. Southern Democrats had complained bitterly about the oppressive use of the military and law enforcement role. The Act incorporates a founding American principle of keeping the nation's military forces separate from and subordinate to the civil power. It was later revised in 1981 to include the Coast Guard for maritime law and the National Guard for such cases as natural disasters and civil unrest. My second question, does Michigan City have a need for this? No. The crime rate for Michigan City has been significantly dropping throughout the years. This is confirmed by statistics gathered from citydata.org. Another point worth noting is that in a small percentage of the total crime in Michigan City, it's violent crimes. The majority of the crimes committed are theft. My third question, is the MRAP cost efficient? The cost to upkeep this vehicle is high. It gets about 5 miles per gallon, weighs 20 tons, and would cost $30,000 just for new tires. But before we look at the cost, where was the money coming from? It's coming from a drug fund. How can we rely on money being there when it's not guaranteed and crime is on a downward trend? Can we expect more taxes? In addition to local costs, what about the federal taxes that are used for shipping these things overseas and repairing them?
Mr. Schroeder,
yes.
Excuse me, we have a limit of 3
I
minutes,
understand.
and
All
you've exceeded
right,
it.
I appreciate you.
No, we appreciate you
All right,
speaking.
all right. I would just like to definitely direct my attention to this, and it is definitely a wrong choice to allow this to be roaming around on our streets.
We welcome your thoughts.
Thank you,
on
and
it.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schroeder. Any other public comment? Public comment?
My name is Nick Hamill. I live on 3002 Cleveland Avenue here in Michigan City. I've lived here for 4 years now, and one of the hardest things I've ever had to do when it comes to convincing people why I'm living in Michigan City is convincing them that it's a safe town. And it's a little harder to argue that when the Michigan City Police Department feels it needs a armored personnel carrier to do its job. And I'll leave the costs and stuff to the other people that are going to talk about this, I'm sure, but I think it's a little ominous to say you live in a safe city, and I'm sure that the police department is saying that you do, and then to turn around and feel the need to have a lumbering behemoth that was designed for mine resistance in a war zone traveling the city streets of Michigan City. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hamill. Any other comments from the public? Public comment?
I'm Gary Hamilton, 410 Red Path. I've lived in this town my entire life, okay? I do not like the MRAP. I see no basis to even have it in this town. This is a vehicle, and it was just brought up, for intimidation and to strike fear. Yes, it's to protect the police officers. What protects them when they get out of the vehicle? This MRAP does not belong here. This is not the Ukraine. This is not Syria. This is not Afghanistan. This is Michigan City. We're supposed to be in a town that lives in peace and harmony. Bringing fear and intimidation to the citizens is unjust.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Any other public comment? Comments from the public?
wasn't going to come up here and make any comments because I don't live in Michigan City, but I am founder of the LaPorte County Patriots. There's some...
Excuse me, sir. Would you state your name and address?
Lou Carlasara. Lou Carlasara from LaPorte.
Can you spell that last name?
C-A-R-L-A-S-S-A-R-A.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Biggest issues I'm seeing with this thing is how it's been portrayed, how it's been presented by the media, by the police department. It's not a gift. This vehicle is on loan. It can be recalled from the DOD at any time. A lot of you don't know that, do you? This isn't going to be property of the police department. I have a big list here. I don't want to go through it all. The weight of this thing. I've talked to some of the police and what they're planning on doing with it. Okay. Going up into somebody's yard because you think they're a drug dealer or something. Are they planning on calling NIPSCO to make sure they don't run over the gas lines every time they have a raid? Because this thing's gonna crush sidewalks, gas lines, water lines. It's going to do damage to your infrastructure if it's used in the SWAT, the way the SWAT teams go, driving up in the yards. You've got the issue of the ACLU is looking at the militarization of our police forces. This organization's got deep pockets. Do you? Do you have the pockets deep enough to defend against this organization? They're looking at also this type of militarization is happening in the low-income areas where the minorities are. So that's another issue that you have to look at with this vehicle. The cost. You know, I've talked to some of the people. They're saying that they're going to use used stuff. Great, but nobody's come up with an actual figure as what it's going to cost these people to get this thing retrofitted, where the money's going to come from to upkeep this vehicle. Sure, you're getting free wheels. Yeah, so what? You're not going to go through them. It's overkill, basically. The comments of Posse Comitatus, man, we're looking at a lot of people are looking at that really strongly, and I think that the day of the normal police department where you got a cop, we're walking down the beat and the people are not afraid of them is over with. This is going to help make people more afraid of our police department. The intimidation factor alone, you're not only going to scare the bad guys, there's kids in those neighborhoods that are going to get scared by this vehicle as well. Lots of things to think about on having this vehicle. The people of Michigan City really do need a voice in this, which they weren't given. The last thing that I've got on my list here is election.
You've exceeded your 2 minutes, sir.
Elections have consequences, and the actions of the elected will be remembered on Election Day.
Thank you, sir. We always welcome your thoughts. Comments from the public?
Hello, my name is Mark Moldenhauer. I'm from 403 South 19th Street, Chesterton, Indiana. All I got to say is I'm a Marine. I'm a combat engineer. This type of vehicle was used in my trade. I was out in Iraq, 2 deployments, 14 months total. The thing only has really one use. It's an extremely heavy taxi, unless you plan on putting a heavy machine gun on the ring mount, which, if that happens around here, something's going wrong. So really all I had to say is the thing's pretty much useless. I don't know what they plan on doing with it here, other than a really heavy taxi going down a road. So they got to get out of it sometime.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moldenhauer. Comments from the public? Comments from the public? Public comment? Public comments now closed. Comments from the council? Are there any comments from the council? I'll start off by making a comment before anybody runs out. It's important to me that all of you know that many of us, I can only speak for myself, many of us in this council did not know that our police force was going to get that MRAP. We receive emails of police briefs, and we found out about it when it was already in progress. The police force doesn't work for us, and they work for the mayor. The police chief he works for the mayor. The mayor is his boss. And what I'd like you to understand is that please do not assume that the members of this council are in favor of this. We're not responsible for this, and many of us, I will speak for myself, I'm not in favor of it. I don't believe it presents a good image for Michigan City. If I were here on a weekend looking to situate with a company that was in Michigan City and I saw that parked outside our police station up by the lakefront, I would wonder what kind of problems this town has. So there is sympathy, agreement with you on this council. Please don't blame us for it. We weren't the guys that we allocated no money for this. So I just want you to know that it's important. Comments for the council?